Hi, this is Devin from CrunchGear.com, and we were interviewing Les Stroud, who is the star of Survivorman, which is a great show that I personally enjoy very much. And he's here. We're within the Sony booth, and we're gonna ask him a couple questions. So, just first of all, obviously we're here in the Sony booth. You use Sony equipment on the show, so I'd like to. I have a sort of a amateur cinematographer in me, and I know some people who do it too. What is it about Sony gear that's good for you? That what is it that makes it superior to you?
Over the other brands and so on. When I first started working on Survivorman and my own shows, I worked with a lot of other people as well. We'd get together and start comparing cameras, and I had to have the equipment that could stand up to the rigors of what I do. It's got to handle dust, it's got to handle night shots, it's got to handle humidity, heat, cold, all of that. And I would take the different brands of cameras and line them up and do a bunch of testings and how they shoot and so on. Plus I had the opportunity to do a bunch of shoots and just be trying them out there on the road as well. It's one thing to do an afternoon of testing. It's another thing to take it out and do a week of shooting, and then come back and consider that a test, but no one ever has the time. I did. And in the end, Sony just kept coming up on top in all of my testing, depending on what it is that I was challenging it for. So the first one I did, it was a white balancing nightmare, because I had like 4 different brands all together at the same time, and I realized I can't do that. I have to stick with one brand and become dedicated to that brand, and I will have much better post work. So that's when I did my testing, and that's when I saw that a lot of the Sony equipment stood up to the rigors and gave me the quality. I mean, let's face it, no camera can handle being dunked in the water. So nothing is bomb-proof, but it's still got to handle being jostled around, flown in airports and backpacked, in the back of backpacks, and then, for me, dropped in the mud, and still come up strong. And Sony gear was doing it.
So do you do the post work and editing yourself too? Or do you
I used to. I was certainly an editor for a long time, and I used to do, in fact, the first 2, which were pre-Survivorman, but it's what got me into doing Survivorman. Exact same format, everything. I call them Stranded. I shot them up in Canada as a series, and they did so well that I sold the Survivorman series based on them. So where did you go with that question again? Ask me again.
Well, I was actually kind of wondering what software you used to edit.
Right. Oh yeah.
My own personal satisfaction.
That's where I was at. Well, in those days, I did everything. Absolutely everything. I went out in the field. I shot. I came back. I edited. I worked with friends of mine who were musical writers on writing the music. I color corrected. I did my audio post. I did it all myself. Everything. And that's fine, being a jack of all trades with it. Hey, there was no budget to do anything else.
Yeah.
So, but that was great in that I can shoot knowing what it's like to be an editor. I can edit knowing what it's like to have been getting the shots.
That makes a huge difference.
It does make a huge difference. The only problem is, after a while, you can really lose objectivity. I had to rely on a lot of friends and family to take a look at my work and say, what do you think? And have this trick that I used to do, I still do it even when I have other editors, is show my clips to somebody, non-industry person, and I'll watch it with them, and I'll say, don't ask me any question while it's going, just save up your questions or whatever. I'll sit and I'll watch, and if I start to feel really antsy or itchy during certain scenes while they're watching, I know, it's really boring in this spot, it's going on too long, I shouldn't include that.
Yeah.
And so I used to do that a lot when I was completely alone doing all my work. So now I've got a budget, and now I have editors.
Oh, that sounds great. So you don't have to worry about hurting anybody's feelings with this one. Who do you think came out at the bottom of your tests most of the time? Or was it just kind of a scatter?
Yeah, I would say, quick memory, quick run down the list, I'd say Sony came out on top. And surprisingly, I don't even know if anybody's going to believe me, but JVC was the closest second, frankly. I had a lot of great work with JVC stuff. Canon and Panasonic. Panasonic was too itchy. There was always issues in there. Canon, there's always something missing. JVC, almost there. Maybe not powerful enough in knowing where they were going next. And then Sony was just on the mark.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. So not asking for any specific problems with Sony cameras, but what do you think was the biggest problem that you did have with the cameras? Like, obviously, I remember, I think it was in the Amazon, they kept, I don't know if it was overheating or if it was like,
and it's still
humidity.
a problem. Yeah, I still have that problem of, passionate about Sony equipment or not, the fact is, what cameras are going to handle. In fact, Sony, if you're watching in development, what I need is a robust, strong, professional quality camera that can handle sports activity without having a big casing all around it. Something that can handle being dropped and being rained on. This is, whenever that gets invented, it's for a guy like me, that's going to be brilliant. So no, any camera takes its beating up, takes it rough. The biggest problem, humidity. Humidity is a killer. Because as soon as that dew meter comes on, you're shut down. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Sit there and wait. And if I'm outside, where do I go to dry out the camera?
Yeah.
I can blow on it all I want. I can wave a rag around it. It's not going to shut that dew meter down. And that's the toughest one, is dealing with humidity. The surprising ones, when I say them, it makes sense, but you don't figure it out while you're there, is dust and sand, like in the deserts. Stuff gets in everywhere. You can usually get through the shoot, no problem. You get home, you try to clean it, you give up because you cannot get that last bits of sand and grit. So, equipment that could be designed to help shield that out would be nice. And then also hot and cold. Cold, in both cases, it's just about shielding the camera from those brutal environments. Trying to keep the camera cool in the Kalahari Desert, trying to keep it warm in northern Canada, so that it functions. You can do it. You just have to pay attention and protect the camera. But humidity and sand and dust, those are really tough to master.
Did you use any particular kind of camera bag, hard cases, or anything like that?
Yeah,
you have to be lightweight too, I suppose, because
I got to be lightweight for what I do, and most people do when they're out in the field. I mean, who wants to be heavyweight? Right? The lighter, the more mobile we are, the more we can do. It's bottom line. So I like to be lightweight. And till now, it's just a matter of I grab my hard shell cases, Pelican cases. I'm not in a relationship with them, but I like their stuff. It protects the gear really well. And when I am working with a crew on other shoots and that, I'm very hard on them. You see those rain clouds coming, you better have that rain cover out and ready, because you need to stop the humidity well before it starts. So I'll work with the I'm trying to remember the wraparound Sony. They make them for the Sony cameras. Porta Brace makes covers for Sony and that work really well in the rain.
Okay. Did you guys ask him about the software? I can't remember.
Oh, I have not asked about the software. I imagine
We're getting there. Yeah, you're on the camera. Yeah, ask if you want to get into the editing.
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask a quick question real quick?
Yeah.
Are you shooting anything on flash memory yet? Or
now with the SDR12, we can now go to. I'm just into testing all of that out now, going right to the hard drive, and also using the flash memory because we can now. So I'm going to start testing that. And segue it beautifully. That also then makes my flow from the camera right into the workstations, into the Vegas Pro, the Movie Studio 9, perfect, because it's fast, And who wants to spend time trying to get it into your system, into your editing platform? You don't want it in there quickly.
And so you're using Vegas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've used Vegas too. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I was wondering also, whenever on like pretty much every show, the only thing you guaranteed to have with you is your little multi-tool. And but is there anything else that's sort of behind the scenes, like the cases and stuff? Is there anything else that's kind of indispensable, or I guess just in your regular life? I mean, I see you got a BlackBerry there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're as addicted to it as some people are.
Well, I've done, and I suppose it's fitting with the way things I do. I actually recently, a few weeks back, had my office staff take. I shouldn't say this, but I'm trying an experiment without getting email now.
Oh yeah.
Just to see if it gives me a bit of a break from working so much. But yeah, this BlackBerry helps me a lot. Multi-tools on locations. In the camera world and in the editing world, I think when I'm on location, the fact is right now I'm about to see. Because I want to see this workflow of going from into the memory stick and into Vegas. I want to see how fast that workflow can go, and it's all current new technology. Yeah. Something I can't live without when I'm there.
You don't have
I
a
pare
lot.
it down. Yeah, I pare it down because I want to be light and fast.
yeah, well,
right?
absolutely.
The camera gear, the case protection from the rain, the batteries, wide-angle lenses.
Yeah.
Never shoot without a wide-angle lens. You guys are shooting without wide-angle lenses. Get wide-angle lenses on those.
We got to be lightweight
And,
too. We carry
yeah,
this stuff
but
around all day.
that little wide-angle, that extra bit of breath is nice.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's an indispensable for me. Is I never try to use any of the current killer camera gear without a wide-angle lens on.
It would be a pain to try and shoot with, like, try and get depth of field, long lens. You could set it up, but it would take ages. Plus, your lenses are big and heavy. So.
And I got to be fast and ready to go, you know. And then when I get back home and I've got to do all my editing, same thing. I have deadlines to meet, right? So I have to get my stuff going and on air within weeks, and so that's where Vegas comes in because the workflow is very fast. Now, I'm now about to launch a very powerful video blog system that I'm doing. And again, this is where I want to be in a situation, and that's all entirely Vegas. I have Vegas Suite set up now to handle my blog. Will be exclusively on that. My blog will be exclusively done on Vegas. So I want the workflow to be fast. I want to go from camera to stick to card, whatever it is. Maybe even to download, shoot it to my guy who's back in Canada into the Vegas Suite, and I want to be able to have you watch my video blog and it say, oh, he was there like this morning or yesterday. You know, really fast workflow.
Yeah, well, that sounds great.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've always wondered, do you have something with you in case of an emergency, like a GPS device where they can locate you? And I've always been curious, do you have a stipulation that if you were to, God forbid, die out in the middle of nowhere, that episode would run?
I can answer both questions. Yeah, I'm working. I work with spot units, technology that tracks where I go every 10 minutes and sends that information to 10 contacts via text or email. So I work with that on location. I am supposed to be able to call out for help. With satellite phone, the problem with satellite phone is it doesn't get past the canyon walls of the jungle canopy. And so the new spot device actually works a lot for me if I get bit by a snake and you know, I've got to get out of there. And yes, I have said, look, if the worst happens here, keep filming. And my wish is I want it to go. I want it to go into the show. I want it to go to air. You know, in a way, what would be the point otherwise? You know, it's like because I do things that can be risky. Calculated risk, yes. I know what I'm doing, yes. I don't plan on losing life and limb for a TV show, yes. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to get bit by a pit viper when I'm in the middle of the Amazon jungle.
Yeah.
And so in that case, but that's part of the adventure. I accept that risk. So if it gets filmed, I want it out there. I want it going because it's just part of the story. Maybe it'll make $1 million for my kids after I'm gone.
That's all the time we got.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's been very interesting. It's been very nice to meet you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.